Okay, welcome again, and thank you everyone for watching today's webinar. Over the next hour, we'll explore the future of work in action, showcasing how digital transformation can build a resilient deskless or frontline workforce. So first, let me introduce myself. So my name is Noémie Danto, and I'm in charge of customer success at Librestream. So supporting our customers with deployments, adoption, return on investment, and any best practices to be shared on augmented reality and artificial intelligence so that they can get the best value out of our solutions. I will be the main moderator for our session today, and we have a busy agenda. So after we briefly introduce ourselves and companies, we will hear how Siemens Energy deployed the connected worker solution to drive change and value across their workforce and customer base. We'll then dig deeper into a question and answer session with Siemens Energy. And from there, you will have an opportunity to see this solution in action. And we will end with best practices and lessons learned in deploying solutions like this. So a few items I would like to mention before we really get into the content. We will be recording this webinar and we'll send you the link as a follow-up to the session. We had to mute all due to numbers. I think we're reaching 100 people at the moment, but we encourage you to participate during and at the end of this event. So you can enter your questions or comments into the control panel during the session for us to address. It should be on the right-hand side of your screen. And we should have some time at the end of our meeting today to answer them. If not, we'll make sure we get back to you by email afterwards. Poll questions will also appear during the session. If you answer, you will see how that compares to the broad audience. And when we conclude, you will see a survey pop up. And we ask you that you share your ideas to straighten and expand the content for our next event, please. Okay, so you've met me already. And I'm really pleased to be joined by Will Mance of RealWear and David Dreyhoff at Siemens Energy Digital Group. I will give them each an opportunity to say hello and introduce themselves. So we'll get started with Will. Please go ahead.
Thanks, Noémie. Hello, everybody. My name is Will Mance. I am the head of customer development here at RealWear. I've been with RealWear since early 2018 in a number of different roles, and I live up in Vancouver, Washington, up in Washington State. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Will. Yeah, David, over to you.
Hi, thank you, everyone. My name is David Dreyhoff, and I'm currently leading the R&D for Americas at Siemens Energy for our connected worker programs. My previous experience, I spent many years on power plants as a project engineer and project manager, performing overhauls and repairs. In my current role, I'm bringing that field experience back to the office while we develop this connected worker concept and deploy these type of remote technologies.
Perfect. Thank you, Will and David. Not everyone here is familiar with our organization, so we'll share brief company introductions and then hear David share the path Siemens Energy is on with a connected worker solution. First, our domain experience at Librestream is very much focused on remote expert collaboration and augmented reality solutions for the industrial sector. We work with key partners like RealWear to provide full solutions to customers like Siemens Energy. Use cases can really range from the customer service offering you will hear more about from Siemens Energy today to digital work instructions that guide workers through manufacturing processes. The customer success team that I'm part of at Librestream is very focused on the last column, the workforce transformation partner. We work closely with our customers to help them deploy and achieve their results. And we're only successful when our customers are successful. We keep saying tremendous results in that area. Will, I will turn it over to you now to introduce RealWear.
Perfect. Thanks, Noémie. RealWear, in a snapshot, we were founded in 2016. We're still privately held. We have a vision, an ongoing vision to develop real solutions for real problems in the industrial sector. We offer two devices, the HMT1, which is the all-black device that you see on the left here, and we also offer the HMT1Z1, which is currently the world's only hands-free wearable device that is rated for intrinsically safe zones, Class 1, Zone 1, Div 1 areas, those extreme hazardous areas. And we also offer a software suite known as RealWear Foresight, which is essentially a hybrid cloud and EMM or MDM software that helps to further control, manage, and admin your RealWear devices. And we can talk about Foresight offline in another meeting if you're interested. Back to you, Noemi.
Cool, thanks, Will. As I mentioned early on, we will have a few poll questions throughout the webinar today. So let's move to our first one. In your deployment planning, which form of hardware devices would you require? Feel free to select more than one option. We'll give everyone a few moments to answer. Okay, thank you. So our clear winner today are, well, wearables with 81% of the results. We can see as well that smartphone and tablets are, well, are a lot in use, with a smaller percentage for test instruments, which we could have guessed because it's really a more specific use cases. Well, thank you very much for answering anyway. We will now moving to Siemens Energy. So I expect many of you are familiar with this company already, but you may not know the full scope of the reach. Siemens Energy is a company formed from the former gas and power division of Siemens Group, and we've been working together since early 2020, I would say. They enhance both traditional and renewable power supply, focusing on the reduction of asset carbon emissions and developing technologies that transform power generation applications. I think I said it right, but David, don't hesitate to correct me if I'm wrong here. You can imagine the challenges faced by Siemens Energy and many others at the beginning of last year in delivering service and maintaining asset uptime for their customers with the travel restrictions. Siemens Energy division included the global digitalization of the workforce and customers. The fact that it aligned very well with Librestream and RealWear strategy and roadmaps was really key in setting up this partnership. The Siemens Energy solution we'll be talking about today is called the Connected Worker. So David is obviously a key part of the success that we've seen from that solution already. Will and I will take turns queuing up some questions about the Connected Worker. I remind those listening into our webinar today that you may place any questions in the meeting pane as we go through our session. David, can you tell us a little bit more about the main use cases for the Connected Worker, please?
Absolutely, and I am in my office today, so hopefully not too much background noise here. But Connected Worker started for Siemens Energy as really a necessary workaround to support a customer outage that was in a travel restricted region. And this was even before all these COVID restrictions that we've all been dealing with for the last year. This really only expedited the concept for us as well. Over the last year, it's been growing into a daily integrated capability for our company because those capabilities are resulting in real business outcomes. You can see a few of those on the screen there. Faster time to repair, reduced travel, of course, and also influencing non-conformance topics where we can get experts to really give guidance to our field users. So in general, as a company, we have a large fleet of equipment frames installed in various regions of the world. And this concept allows us to streamline our support to cut down on travel requirements, as well as find benefits for internal and external use cases. So internally, for Siemens to Siemens type of communications, we're integrating it into our daily processes, whether that's a readiness safety check with offsite safety engineers, or working with our engineering to do a live collaboration on an issue at hand, rather than sending pictures and emails and waiting for a response. So a lot of great use cases internally, but also you see on the screen that we're developing external customer offers as well. Supporting supplier quality inspection tests and witness points has become a standard practice for us, many of our customers and vendors. And you see also that we're developing some new service offerings, remote inspections, specifically with borescopes, and we'll get into a little more detail on that later, but really enabling the technology with our O&M knowledge, our capabilities, and distributing that knowledge to our customers through the technology.
Perfect. Thanks, David. We also try to support our customers as well as we can. Let's move to our next poll question. How far along is your organization in using augmented reality tools like remote expert assistance and digital work instructions to make savings, of course, but also improve workforce efficiency and safety? Okay, so let's see what our answers are. So most of you are just starting our investigation, well, your investigation, and then we've got people testing in a pilot or in the process. So it really looks like some of you have begun this journey, not all of you, but the tools are not fully deployed within the workforce yet. So that's probably the perfect timing to get some insight from David today and try to apply some of his tips. Okay, well, I will pass it on to you back to continue our questions, please.
Perfect, thanks, Noemi. Yeah, and it's exciting to see the responses from the participants so far as well. To see those journeys as they shift forward as this whole market matures is really exciting. David, can you talk to us about the importance of having a hands-free devices as part of your deployment?
Absolutely. So we saw from the poll earlier that there's a wide range of devices out there. And so originally our goal was to be hardware agnostic, meaning that a user can join a collaboration session with any device, a cell phone, a tablet, a computer, or in the optimal scenario, a wearable such as the HMT1. So Librestream offers that flexibility to be deployed on multiple devices so we can support really any scenario. With that being said, after many field experiences, many applications, we also down selected HMT1 as one of the optimal experience solutions for many of our field applications. We had about 200 plus devices deployed over the last year supporting COVID type topics. And the common feedback from the field is that they don't want to have too much interference in their daily range of motion or within their vision. Taking gloves off to tap buttons on cell phones, to take photos, attach, send the images back and forth, ends up being quite cumbersome when you're on a 3 to 4 hour type of session where you're trying to do an investigation or an inspection. So from our perspective, field users' objective is to work safely and correctly in the field and allowing that hands-free situation and the back office user to really drive the call and control the session.
Yeah, no, that's great, thanks. It's definitely important that users of our joint solutions can operate in a safe and efficient way. I mean, that's pretty much paramount to all of this. Can you tell us about some of the benefits you're seeing from the connected worker solution?
Absolutely. Naturally, any idea or concept needs the business case behind it. And so we've been tracking a number of key performance indicators, as well as created some value calculators as well to help with adoption. Of course, quantifying those is always a little bit asset specific or scope specific, but in general, we found benefits in these couple areas. So on the knowledge side of things, I've already mentioned connecting site users to back office expertise. We have knowledge hubs that we're now able to leverage a little bit stronger. And that also trickles into that concept of knowledge transfer, where we're capturing these sessions and we're enhancing our current methodologies as well. On the customer or even the internal front, there's also speed. So time to repair, to get a customer back online, to get an asset back to productivity, or on an outage scenario where we have a critical path type scenario, a scope that we need to support, it's a nice risk mitigation to be able to ensure that scope and stays on schedule and does not become critical path. Another topic, efficiency. The easy calculation is reducing travel. There's a wide range of savings in this application. And just continuing to develop those use cases, you'll see more around the efficiency. And then lastly, for me, very important is precision. So we talk about non-conformance costs, ensuring that we do not make mistakes in the field. And what this technology does for us is ensure that we have a clear and clean communication between back office and experts. These annotation features really give us that three-way communication that we're looking for to be able to accurately communicate over this session as well.
Yeah, thanks. It's great that you've already managed to identify some critical time savings and that your colleagues see the knowledge transfer and efficiency value in using the connected worker. On top of the connected worker, that's a bit the devil's advocate question. I know Siemens Energy is also using conferencing tools such as Microsoft Teams, for example. How does this solution work with technologies already in place, like Teams, for example?
Absolutely. So from our perspective is we do both. We do use Microsoft Teams as a lot of our baseline communication platform for internal communication and even external customer meetings. But when we start to cross over that line from just kind of standard conferencing requirements to real field scope, real field applications, that's where Librestream and HMT1 really steps into support. So point one being able to work in a low bandwidth. So when we're in a remote location, working off a hotspot, that we can control that connection, ensure a solid connection with our back office. So that's a major use case for the Librestream solution. And I touched on it a little bit earlier. The annotation capabilities with the HMT1 is a huge importance for us. We talk about safety all the time. We talk about three-way communication. That way, when a back office user is telling a user where to take a measurement, what bolt to take off next, they're able to mark that up. Then the field user is able to communicate, they understand the next step, and they're able to move through that procedure. So this is another very important aspect when you're actually deploying the technology. And lastly, Librestream has a number of solutions such as the Collaboration Hub, which has been really useful for us as we've been able to do remote boroscope inspections and bring in our NDE experts from all over the world when we have a specific inspection that needs support.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks for helping us understand the different ways that the end users are leveraging Teams as well as Librestream's on-site. David, much appreciated there. Based on the data and knowledge we continue to see, remote collaboration will obviously continue to be increasingly important. How do you think your use cases for remote collaboration solutions will expand over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, again, we saw some of that in the polls. A lot of people either starting or interested in starting. So I think that's the right approach. I mean, I personally fully expect remote collaboration to continue to integrate to our standard processes and our operations. The pain points in which it's addressing aren't really going anywhere, and remote collaboration can actually influence some of these pain points. So I mentioned previously a large fleet of equipment, many regions of the world. This is a real obvious use case to help spread our knowledge wider and use that in different regions of the world as well. On the external front, customers are looking to have more uptime, more reliability. They're looking for more guarantees and support. And so with a customer wearing an HMT1 in coordination with our support desks and our folks in the back office, we're able to have better customer satisfaction as well. They feel like we're right there with them. We're really giving them streamlined support. And not only that, we see the advantage of when we find an issue, the previous path was to pick up the phone, send someone to site to investigate that, and really go from there. We now have this new concept of first starting with a video collaboration session with our customer so that we can get the right parts ordered, send the right person to site, and we avoid any kind of lack in, say, efficiencies when we're trying to support a customer. And lastly, I guess on the internal front as well, very similar to the external. When we're supporting a maintenance outage, schedule is very important to get that unit back online or available. Anyone in the project business knows there's a huge amount of coordination between offsite and site for these major projects to be completed. So there's a lot of opportunities within those processes to use the technology as well.
Yeah, thanks, David. I can only agree on everything you said. You just spoke about integrating the connected worker in your processes. Why do you think companies should invest in new tools like the connected worker when they've got technologies and processes already in place for your staff?
Absolutely. So this will be an argument I think most folks trying to adopt the technology will run into. And from my perspective, the tools aren't really meant to be a replacement. It's really there to enhance the current processes and make those more efficient. A wide range of ROI and safety enhancements can be found when you start to implement these. So I've already given a few examples of streamlining offsite engineering analysis and recommendations, but we're also looking at other ideas in safety, such as when we work in confined spaces, we can have that confined space user on a video call so we can actually monitor their safety inside as well. And again, going back to just communication with our customers, it's really opened up that communication to new business, new opportunities where we can really support them more directly. Last thing I'll mention as well, I talked a little bit before on doing remote borescope inspections and other specialty scope as well. So this is a little bit of a sidestep to how we were doing things previously, but it's an opportunity for new business, new ways of approaching a previous inspection topic, where again, we have the right expertise always involved in that session.
Yeah, nicely put, David. And obviously the end goal for all of our customers is both being able to measure ROI as well as have that good user experience and get those metrics back, get that feedback back from the end users and make sure that everything is supporting their needs, which really is a good segue into the final question for this portion of the webinar. What advice can you share across any vertical or all verticals for companies looking to incorporate remote collaboration solutions so that their journey can be as successful as yours?
Yeah, I mean, very simply put, just do it. Get started. You're already on this session, so you're taking the right steps from my perspective. But the technology is capable today, and it's only evolving in the coming years. It's getting better and better. The feedback between Librestream and HMT, they're just rapidly progressing as well. So start looking into your business and your business processes. Try to understand where you can start benefiting from the technology. I've mentioned many different use cases, but they're all true applications, and there's many more. I'll also just mention from the deployment standpoint, a little bit of a personal experience that just delivering devices and software to your organization is not enough for adoption. You know, they really need to identify a key process, a key procedure, and incorporate the technology and the concept into that. That way, when you're normally sending an email back to your engineering folks with pictures, you include the option to include a video collaboration call. These simple type of steps to really help deploy it into the process of your organization are really going to make a difference with adoption.
Great, thanks. David, I really like your point about the importance of integrating smoothly these technologies into the worker's life. And I think, and I'm very objective when I'm saying that our joint product offering with RealWear is both strong in features, but also really easy to use. And we continue to invest in making it better. So thanks very much for your detailed answers. We hope our participants have found this portion of the webinar valuable. And let's move on now to let's move on now to our next poll question. What are some challenges that your organization will need to overcome to successfully deploy both augmented reality and or artificial intelligence within your workforce? You can select as many as you like, actually. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's see our results. Okay, so you're telling us that getting executive support and easiness, so introducing tools that are not too complicated, would be great to best deploy your solution. But it appears that the main blocker really to get your workforce on board. The main blocker is to get your workforce on board. And that's a key area where our customer success team today supports our customer all across the globe. So thank you again for your participation in our polls. The best way to make sure the workforce adopts smoothly, as we just said, a new digital tool is also to avoid changing processes too much. So the one area we see consistently is the importance in looking at your technical ecosystem and how platforms like OnSite and RealWear provide can really be part of your workflow. Some of our customers, like Siemens Energy, plan to allow you the use of OnSite directly from their CRM or ERP, like Dynamics 365 Field Service, Salesforce Lightning, or SAP, for example. The OnSite platform can also collaborate with existing IoT platforms, like Azure IoT Hub, computer vision models, or something some of you might not be really well aware of, NLP, which is natural language processing libraries, thanks to its APIs. Well, MVP, which is a short name for our Mark Van Pelt, our senior engineer at Librestream, is going to focus the demonstration on RealWear and OnSite today. You can also build this into your solutions, such as, for example, launching an OnSite call from an SAP work order or directly from Microsoft Teams. So over to you, Mark, for the demonstration.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Van Pelt from Librestream, and I'm here today to walk you through the new OnSite, the augmented reality platform that is transforming your workforce. We're going to start out today with my RealWear HMT executing a digital workflow. I'm a newer employee. There's a few of us that are all trying to learn our jobs. This product OnSite Flow is going to help us come up to speed much faster. New job. Notice here I've got several workflows that are already downloaded, several that are not. Those that are downloaded, I can execute even if there's no connectivity at the point of service. Let's start with the pump inspection. Select item 4. Start job. Show items. Maintenance. Confirm selection. Here now it's asking for an asset ID. My hands may be full of oil or wearing glasses, so I don't want to use a keyboard. What I want to do now is scan code. Quickly and easily scanning in maybe a long, complex serial number. Next step. Yes. View video 1. And here we can have assets, videos, pictures, diagrams, things that will help me as a user to come up to speed quicker, get some quick training. And as I'm more familiar then, I will no longer have to stop and watch this, and we can track that time knowing you're making progress. Navigate back. Next step. Now it's asking me to capture asset data, pictures, videos. Any of those that I do capture will be part of the data set that goes upstream to the backend server at the end of the job. Capture photo. Take photo. Next step. You can also capture videos as well as photos. Next step. Now we need to enter a simple numeric for the pump pressure. However, what's important here is there is a constraint. It must be less than 100. Keyboard, clear text. Let's say it's not 102. Navigate back. Next step. Notice now it blocks me. We have the ability to program in whether or not that user can move on anyway, or maybe we want to stop them here and force them to notify a supervisor. Maybe this is bright red with some audible alerts because over 100 may be a dangerous situation. But today I'm a new ambitious employee. I want to learn what I'm doing wrong. So what I want to do now is cancel and take advantage of the fact that we have OnSite Connect on this same device with OnSite Flow. And to actually now bring it up and ask for some remote assistance, we issue the command request help. Request help finds OnSite Connect on the same device and puts me in position now to place a live remote assist call to a mentor or a senior colleague to get some assistance. What I'm going to do right now is actually take off the HMT temporarily. We'll get back to it in a minute. But I want to show you some of the newer features in the on-site platform. And to do so, I need to operate multiple screens. This will make it easier for me to do so. Let's place that call that our HMT user was about to make to John Expert. And I want you to be able to see both sides of this session. And you're looking at now a live wireless stream. This is a live call. This is about a 3.5-inch setup, and you're looking at some 1-inch pipe fittings. Now, On-Site Connect for Remote Assist has 3 data streams. First is its audio. Two-way audio is our top priority. With that, we have a new feature that allows you to enhance that audio by turning on what we call our natural language processing. So what I'm going to do here now is activate that, and you'll see the caption window come up here in the top left. And for today's setup, I've got all the mics and speakers muted except for this one microphone whose audio is coming in on this call to the PC. As you can see, its caption keeps up fairly well, but now I also have the ability to change to any language of my choice that incoming audio. So if I got 2 people who speak 2 different languages, I can quickly and easily have that language translated into the language of my choice. And as a matter of fact, very soon you'll get a full transcript of your call and be able to pull that down in any of those languages, as well as the ability to search those transcripts and have a synthetic voice that will read to you what you're looking at, just in case in that situation you're not looking directly at the equipment. You may be looking, not looking at the screen at the time. So that voice will actually read out to you the information coming in on the caption box. Now, our second stream after our two-way audio is the video. On-site actually queries the remote devices that come into any call and asks, what are you and what video resources do you have? It knows this device reports it has 4 cameras. It knows that these other cameras do not have any support of the lighting on the back. It also knows that this one, the standard back camera, does. That means it's going to give me the ability to remotely control the light for that user here out in the field. They may be in an awkward position holding the camera so I can see what I need, maybe laying down, bending over, holding it in the air. And I can, let's say they can't get close enough, now control their device and zoom in for them. What they need to focus on at this time is holding the device still while it's pointed at exactly what I want to see. Now, on-site right now is streaming at a very high rate. It's a good time to talk a little bit about bandwidth because I'm on a network that I control here in my office, but in the real world, you may have special situations to deal with. We've got customers who limit on-site to a certain amount because their plants, maybe like this Mexico City plant, has a single T1 that's only 1.5 megabits. So they don't want us swamping out the other services. And one of the reasons this customer says that they've given us 9 years the authority to operate is because we can lock it down. They chose 250 kilobits. So that is the size of their video stream for any of their calls. And they use on-site in that mode so that the plant doesn't go down. We can also go way down. And as a matter of fact, a lot of our customers are learning that, hey, programs designed for the office like Skype and FaceTime start out at 1080p 30 frames per second. And for them to get down to hundreds or tens of kilobits like we can takes a lot of time. Now you can wait for on-site to do that as well, or you can set on-site manually and quickly and automatically to whatever bandwidth you need. What I just did was turn it down to 30 kilobits. Our customers are amazed today as to how often they need to go this low because of where their problems are. We learned these things the hard way many years ago when our only connectivity was 56K dial-up modems. But how do I get this job done? I'm not going to risk my career on this picture trying to help this person identify the part. Well, we can't create bandwidth where it doesn't exist, but what we can do is take high resolution pictures. So I'm going to take a picture right off that camera. I'm going to share it. And now I've got a crisp, clear image that I can use. And now we can actually collaborate on what we're both seeing on both sides of the call. And now I can have each individual make marks on the screen, signifying that they actually agree on what we're doing, what we're saying. And we can even change colors here on the fly during the call without having to stop and restart it. I'm going to go ahead and turn this back up. One of the things OnSite is known for, and we've been able to do for quite some time, is take pictures that we take and add metadata to those pictures. So when we add that metadata, we come in here and we actually type in information. What are we looking at? These are 1-inch pipe fittings, and we can actually put that in so that later on this can be searchable. And as it goes upstream, that information can be used to make a collection of searches for history on what's happened. But today we also can ask OnSite to read that image. Using the AI button here, we perform OCR and we grab that serial number, this other text, another innovation by OnSite. When we hit the OK button, then we suddenly now can embed that data automatically into that picture without having to type any of that information into it. That is the new OCR. Now, I'm going to show you now how we've extended that capability for OCR. But before I do that, just remind you, OnSite can be used to not only bring in live images and videos, but to share information back. Let's say this user needs to be trained to do a calibration stand. Our problem is that the gauge needs to be calibrated. I can have pictures or videos to play for them in order to now show them, hey, here's how we're going to rectify this problem by calibrating the gauge and getting a more accurate reading. So anything in my collection, I can share and use that for real time on the job training. What I'm going to do now is show you how easy to add another person to the call. And I'm going to do that in order to show you our computer vision model, as well as our IoT integration. I'm going to select the iPad now as the source of video in our call. Let's give it a little light. And notice here, the only text in this picture is the text here on this little serial number. That's very important because what I want to do now is get a picture of that. And on that picture, what we're going to do is ask OnSite to now, just like it read that other little part, to read this picture. And you'll see here, it's got that serial number. That serial number happens to be tied in to an IoT hub, a hub that has sensors. And those sensors represent live data coming from this carburetor. Now I'm going to select its input here, and I'm now connected live to that hub. And you'll see that data in a little bit. You'll notice it's got vacuum as well as a few others, but it's also identified all these discrete parts of the carburetor. So if I say OK here, what I can do now is have the carburetor actually label all of those sections that we've taught it about. I'm a new employee, remember? Let's say I've been in class, but now I'm in the real world, and this is the first time I'm really going to take apart this power valve cover. I can have links on any of these boxes to relevant data, such as the manual page that has the blowout for this. I have to sometimes overhaul these throttle levels. How about a YouTube video that's going to walk me through how to do that? You can link any of these boxes to relevant data for your users, whether it's maintenance history, these manual pages, whatever that critical information is, you can bring it into the OnSite call and have it available for your end users. Now, remember I talked about the IoT data from that serial number? Well, we actually connected to it, and here it is. I've got several parameters, airflow. I've got a sensor for its vacuum, and I've got a sensor for its air-fuel mixture. I have that live data, and this is from a live carburetor simulator running on our Winnipeg office, but that information is now at my fingertips. And as I make adjustments, I can see the effects of what I'm doing. Matter of fact, if graphs are not your preference, we can also have you quickly and easily change that to a gauge, or for our true nerds, we can even have it now into simply pure data. So that's the IoT data. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually hang up this call. And when I hang up this call, OnSite's going to begin an operation where it's going to upload automatically any pictures or videos taken during this session. This is going to lead us to what we call workspace. And I have my one touch button, this green button here, to take me to my workspace environment. Now, in this environment, we have our teams that we can assign that can see and share each other's images and videos. And you'll see here from a few seconds ago, here's my pictures or any videos that I may have taken. My colleagues have the ability here now to reuse these items, retelestrate on them, repurpose them for their own use. And the nice thing is the original is always kept intact. They can create new major or minor versions, and then that information now can be pulled down and used in their own on-site environments. Let's get back to our user with his digital workflow. We didn't forget about him. So I'm going to put my HMT back on. And what we want to do now that we've got some training, we've calibrated the gauge, what I want to do is navigate back, navigate back. We're back in the workflow. What we need to do now is correct our entry, keyboard, clear text, 9-7, navigate back, next step. The job is now complete. That means the data from that job is automatically being uploaded to the backend server. And if we go look at that backend server, you'll see here, this is where the jobs come from. The list of workflows has all of the workflows, and I see only the ones assigned to me. When a workflow is completed, it becomes a job. This is the job that we just finished. Here are the results of all of my choices, my inputs, my stream. That information is available here, and it's now ready and available to go upstream to our data analytics solutions, or to be able to be pulled down in a default PDF report. So you can also create forms that match your current forms, so everybody is familiar with that data and what it looks like. So you saw us start on MT to execute a digital workflow, go out in the real world for some remote assistance and some real-time on-the-job training from a mentor using On-Site Connect, having that data all backed up now in our workspace environment, and then the data from the workflow itself and its servers all ready to go upstream to your data analytics solutions to help enhance the operations that you're a part of. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mark, for the demonstration. Let's move on to our final poll question. Would you be interested in getting a customized demonstration for your organization? So this one is an easy one. You've got only 2 answers possible. I'll give you just a few moments to answer. Okay, great. Let's move on to our final topic. We still have 16 minutes left. So let's move into the final message of our session today. Best practices for implementation. David spoke a lot about this during our question and answer panel, so we'll keep it brief. I will let Will start off.
Perfect. Thanks, Noemi. First, let's talk about deployment. Once your solution has been decided upon, it's very important to understand who within your organization you need to involve. It might seem too early to involve teams like IT or training, but it really, especially when deploying RealWear devices and these holistic solutions, it's critical to remove any bottlenecks or roadblocks or potential barriers to implementation as early as possible. So best practices is to keep everyone in the loop and involve them from the start so that they can feel confident to use and promote the hardware and the software, brainstorm with these various teams on use cases and new use cases, and also figure out what's in it for me, so to speak, for each department in each role, and ultimately how these solutions will apply to them personally.
Yeah, I couldn't have said better. Easiness is also probably the most important element for a good user experience. We've said it before, And therefore, from user experience, you directly reach usage and return on investments. So 4 tips for you on that topic. Make new tools part of your daily processes. Document simply how that works, how they work, and what you can get from the data collected, whilst integrate them fully with your other software and apps you're using or your workers are using within your company to ensure you've got everybody on board.
Yep, yeah, it's perfect. And really the other idea here is to think big, document your success metrics, and plan ahead on a large scale. From validations to deployments can take some time, or they can happen in a flash. But think in those terms of what next steps are, and always be thinking big. What can your company achieve by taking on more tasks remotely? How will that impact the bottom line and impact those ROI stories? The list can get very long, so you'll definitely want to focus on the most important items for your organization. Items like reduced travel cost, time saved, reduction of carbon footprint is even an important one in this day and age, reduction of staff, churn and things like that, as well as safety, are all examples of ways to look at why you would leverage solutions such as this in your practices.
Thanks, Will. Okay, so it looks like we've got some time now to incorporate a few more questions. So let's have a look to see if anyone has posted any. Okay, so we've got a few here. Let's start with, okay, this one. It's a topic that we've already covered a bit before, but we'll of course answer it. David, why don't you just use Microsoft Teams for these use cases? Microsoft Teams or another existing software. Can you share your thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the demo was a great example of that. Certainly the annotations, everything you just saw in these new bells and whistles with natural language processing and image recognition are real capabilities, real values. So there's definitely a handful of distinctions with what Librestream really brings to the table. But again, back to us, our primary use cases was the low bandwidth being a primary use, because we do work in remote locations, three-way communications through annotations. That, again, a very important process for us. And we didn't get to touch on it too much in today's presentation, but the remote board scoping, again, these new specialty scopes, these new capabilities that we're able to do with the technology is another differentiator that we can't do with our normal conferencing software. So,
thank you, David. Yeah, you've mentioned it earlier, but it's important for us to understand the different ways indeed these tools can be used. Okay, so we've got time for another question for you. How easy is it to deploy and use on-site and the RealWear HMT?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's certainly, with any new product or software in a company, you're going to have to go through the adoption process, get the IT folks involved, the cybersecurity folks, get the right organizations involved to incorporate a new tool. But once you're past, say, that process, I'd rather speak to the field user experience and say the working level experience. So for us, the HMT along with onsite was this kind of streamlined package to support and risk mitigate many activities during COVID. So from an end user perspective, receiving a pre-installed headset, performing a quick self-guided training video and or a instructor-led training, we're able to get users online very quickly and get connected to a call. So, we have several different tiers of training, like just get on a call versus a basic user versus an advanced user. But then the power of Librestream is after a user's actually on a call, they don't have to do much else from there if they're an inexperienced user. So once they've connected to the session, that back office expert that may have already been trained on the software can really guide and click all the buttons, as you saw, changing video feeds, taking the photos, zooming in, turning the flashlight on. So it does keep it simple for our field users in the end.
Yeah, thanks, David. And you've got also the possibility to attribute different rights to different users. So that's another key differentiator, I guess. Okay, so we've got some moments for our next question. Do you have any plans to introduce new features into your remote worker solution?
Yeah, I mean, the ones that we just saw in the demonstration are new features released from Librestream, the natural language processing, as well as the object recognition and OCR, object character recognition. To be honest, these are still new features, and we're starting to incorporate them and get the feedback from our users, but natural language processing has been a clear, useful capability. Again, we do have language barriers with global equipment and global support desks. But it also goes back to that three-way communication, ensuring that the user heard what the user said, where they can actually read it as well. So a lot of different positive responses from the natural language processing side of things. And then on the object character recognition, to be honest, we're still looking to find advantages and uses for this technology. This is new to us, and we're looking for some implementations with it.
Okay, great. Will, there might be maybe another question for you, I think. I don't know if you can see it.
Yep, sorry, was muted there. Yeah, it looks like we had a question around the HMT1Z1 as it relates to LTE in those intrinsically safe hot zones, if you will. To answer that question, the current best practices in those hazardous zones is to leverage an intrinsically safe mobile hotspot. If you don't have a good Wi-Fi connection in those areas, which is very common, there are a couple of different companies, and we can discuss this on the side, manufacturers that have created and now produce and sell intrinsically safe mobile hotspots specifically for those extreme hazardous areas.
Great, thank you, Will. That's interesting elements, especially for the person asking it, I guess. Okay, so another one, it's both a comment and a question. Librestream seems better suited to static situations. How does it perform in a dynamic situation, mobile operator moving freely? Okay, so I will take this one. It performs exactly the same, actually. The cool stuff about on-site is the user experience. That's exactly the same whether you're using it from a PC, a mobile, the HMT1. You can use as well the Cube, which is the thermal camera that we are manufacturing. It's like a GoPro that you can place any part of your body, and that pairs in Bluetooth with a smartphone. Or you can use, as David said, any non-descriptive testing equipment. So it includes borescopes to go inside engines or inside the confined spaces, but also scanners, infrared, anything you can just plug and play with one equipment that we also manufacture. So really, the scope is wide, and we've got a lot of customers within oil and gas, manufacturing, some within aerospace as well, and tech industries that are actually using a lot of wearables. And you've seen from the answer from our poll that it was a request as well from our customer database, and we try to really listen to our customers as much as we can. So yes, of course, you can perform in a dynamic situation with on-site and do everything that you could do on a PC or mobile. Okay, I'm just looking if there is a last one maybe that we could take on. Okay, David, if you see another one, please don't hesitate.
I would just maybe add a point to you there, Noemi, something that I get asked all the time. Also, Librestream has some flexibility for guest invites. So for non-licensed folks, customers that are on site that want to get involved. So there's some flexibility that they can actually just pull out their cell phone, they can receive a guest invite link and very easily join that session as well. So everything that Naomi just mentioned, but also some flexibility in that use case as well.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to get out of the audio issues that were on the video as well. Okay, connection plan. So really on the other question, we'll go back to you afterwards by email, but please don't hesitate to ask us if you want afterwards. We really appreciated the interaction there. If you want to set up a call just to ask question or get a demo, we'll be very happy to do that. So a huge thank you to David for preparing and sharing the Siemens Energy story with us today. Will and I enjoy really the collaboration with you and our audience. And if you've got follow-up question or would like to schedule a call, please reach out to the email you can see on your screen, info@librestream.com. So thank you all for joining or watching this webinar, and I wish you all a very great day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay, bye.